I got in a fight, almost got in a fight. It's complicated. I was in a bar in Austin with my wife, and it was during COVID, and a woman came to our table, and she was maskless. And this bitch came over, no mask, all H words. Hi, how are you? Droplets was coming out of this bitch's face. We all covered our drinks. Oh, bitch, what are you doing? Now, I looked over at the table that she came from, and I peeped game. The men at the table were filming me. This happens when you're famous. People will come over and try to rattle your cage and get you to say something stupid or dumb so that their buddies can film it and they get a video of you embarrassing yourself. And clearly, I said, this is what's happening. And these dumb motherfuckers thought that it was my first rodeo. Sadly, it worked. I ran right over there. I said, I pointed right in the camera. I said, you's a bitch-ass nigga for doing this to me. And the dude was shocked that I said it. He said, oh. And when he did like this, I seen all his fingernails was painted, and I realized, like, uh-oh. This fella's gay. Now, you know how I talk. I call everybody a bitch-ass nigga, you know what I mean? But that's not a right thing to do if they're gay, you know what I mean? And now I was in trouble. And not only that, the motherfucker was huge. He stood up, he was towering over me. He must have been 6'5", a big, white, corn-fed, Texas homosexual. This nigga was ready to fight. And he started barking on me, but I stood my ground. I wasn't scared. How could I be scared? This motherfucker's shirt was tied up in a knot like this. Oh, fuck this guy. Let's go, nigga, let's go. I thought we were gonna come to blows. I was ready. And then, right when you think we would fight, guess what he did? He picked up his phone and he called the police. And this thing I'm describing is a major issue that I have with that community. Gay people are minorities until they need to be white again. I'm being very brutally honest so we can solve this problem. I'm telling you right now, a black gay person would have never done that to me. Because a black gay person knows when the police shows up, they're not gonna care who called them. They don't show up like, which one of you niggers is Clifford? We're all Clifford. This happens far too often. Another time, about 6 years ago, there was a lesbian woman that tried to sell a story about me to TMZ. Thank goodness TMZ could see right through the sham of that story. This woman claimed that I beat her up in a nightclub because she was a lesbian. That is fucking crazy. Bitch, I didn't even know you was a woman. Thank God TMZ didn't believe that. Because I did beat the shit out of her, I'm not gonna lie. It was her fault, I had no choice. I came in the club minding my own business, and a woman came up to me, she goes, oh my God, Dave Chappelle. And I was just being reciprocally nice. Hey, miss, how are you, blah, blah, blah. Benign talk, nothing to it. And all of a sudden, this lesbian fella stepped between us. Hey, nigga, that's my girl. I said, yo, my man, back up like that. She said, I ain't backing up off shit, nigga, that's my girl. I said, bro, you're gonna have to give me 3 feet like this. She said, stop calling me a man, motherfucker. I'm a woman. I said, what? And then I looked deep in this nigga's cheekbones. I said, oh my God, you are a woman. It was just too much for me to even wrap my mind around. But I tell you what, I unballed my fist immediately and I softened my posture so that she would know she's in no danger. I even changed the tone of my voice. I said softly, sweetly, like a pimp might say. Bitch, I'm about to slap the shit out of you. I should have done it. Oh, I wish I didn't say that. She dropped that foot back. Boop. She was in a perfect southpaw stance. Her shoulders were angled correctly. Her head movement was good. I said, oh no! This bitch boxes for real. She threw a wild hook at me and I saw it coming from yesterday, so I slipped it like this. I had no choice. I had to go to work. I let that jab go. You should have seen me go, nigga. I tenderized them titties like chicken cutlets. I whooped the toxic masculinity out of that bitch. That's why I don't go out no more. Just trying to chill. I'm just trying to live a peaceful life. That's why I live in Ohio. You know, I live in a little town in Ohio. It must be like 3,700 people, small hippie town. Culturally, it might feel like Ann Arbor to you. You know what I mean? Just a bunch of hippies and shit like that. And niggas always ask me, like, Dave, why you live in that hippie town? And I'd be embarrassed to tell them the truth. But you know why I live there? Because Yellow Springs, Ohio has the most beautiful women in the world. And a lot of people might disagree with me, but you gotta see them for yourself. They're gorgeous. But it all depends on what you're into, you know what I mean? I like white bitches with dirty feet. If I had a strip club in Yellow Springs, I would call that shit strippies. All naked hippies all the time. And I'd only hire girls with long titties and long vagina hair that looks like they slept on it. And I would keep a pile of dirt right next to the stage. I come like, bitch, get your feet in that dirt and get up there and give those people what they came to see. Chalk up, bitch. A couple years ago, I was in Ohio at a shopping mall. An old white lady, this is true, she was following me around the mall, which sounds paranoid, but I'm sure she was following me. Mean lady, too. You ever see a woman with lines on her face that just tell you, like, even if she smiled, it looked like it would hurt the muscles in her face? I knew she was following me because she was at places that had nothing to do with her. I'd be looking around like, what is this old bitch doing in GameStop and Foot Locker and all the places I like to go? Every time I see her, she'd just be looking at me on me. And eventually, I forgot about her. So then after I'm shopping, I go all the way to the back of the parking lot. I'm parked all the way in the back. And as soon as I open my car door, I hear a voice go, David Chappelle. Just like that. I didn't even have to look. I knew it was her. And I looked back, and sure enough, there she was, that face. To be honest with you, she probably wasn't even that old. She's probably around my age. But she was a white woman. This bitch looked terrible. Going all the way. I kept my cool. I was nice. I said, hello, miss. And she didn't say anything back. All she said was, I watch your comedy. I said, uh-oh. And then she says, it's true, she goes, it sounds to me like you hate women. I said, well, you know what, miss? It's art. And you're free to interpret this art however you'd like. But I can tell you, as the maker of this art, that I don't believe that I feel that way. And she said, well, I think, and I said, shut up, bitch. Shut the fuck up. Before I kill you and put you in the trunk, ain't nobody around here. I'm just kidding, I didn't say that. I felt that way, but that's not what I said. I was more clever than that. You know what I said? And this is exactly what I said. I said, Miss, before you finish that statement, let me ask you a question. Where'd you see me? Did you buy a ticket to a concert? I did. I doubt that. Or maybe you watched one of my specials on Netflix. Or did I follow you to your car and do my act? She said, what? I said, keep it in the comment section, bitch, this is real life. Ta-ta! And then I drove off.
Hey, if you do anything wrong in your life, and I find out about it, I'm gonna try to take everything away from you. And I don't care when I find out. Could be today, tomorrow, 15, 20 years from now. If I find out, you're fucking finished.
Who's that? That's you. That's what the audience sounds like to me. That's why I don't be coming out doing comedy all the time, because y'all niggas is the worst motherfuckers I've ever tried to entertain in my fucking life.
Are you surprised though by the criticism that's come your way?
No, and I don't mind that people get upset. Some of this criticism like is helpful. Like I get educated by it. I don't necessarily agree with all of it, but I learn about a lot of things. You know, just from my...
I swear to God, this might be the noblest of professions. Robin Williams had a bar that I loved. He said, comedy is the only job you can have where you can use everything you know. And that's true. You can use more than you know. You can use what you think. Use it. Don't be afraid. Don't let these bitch-ass niggas button your lip. Say it anyway.
It took us 400 years to figure out as a people that white people's weakness the whole time was kneeling during their national anthem. That's a brittle spirit. That's right, nigga. On the rock, it's regular. Ah! Ah! What are you doing, nigga? Stand up!
Comedy. Bad things happen to someone else. That's not necessarily funny.
Look at it this way. I grew up in the crack epidemic. I tell jokes about it. I grew up in the crack epidemic, and now there's an opioid epidemic. Are they treating the opioid epidemic the way that they treated the crack epidemic? No, this is a national health emergency. When we were coming up, we were policed by the National Guard, addicts were criminals. Now they understand addicts are sick people, and maybe it's because the demographic of the opioid epidemic is not the same demographic of the crack epidemic.
Racially. I mean, you're talking about race.
Right, so now that your community is getting destroyed, it's a whole nother ball game. And then it's a huge window of empathy. Oh my God, we can see each other. We both went through similar pain. But I'm just saying everything's funny that happens to you is more about empathy. That you there but for the grace of...
You guys gotta remember, I'm not saying it to be mean. I'm saying it because it's funny. And everything's funny till it happens to you.
I'm not afraid of other people's freedom of expression. I don't use it as a weapon. It just makes me feel better. And I'm sorry if I hurt anybody, et cetera, yada, yada, yada. Everything I'm supposed to.
But there's a more important reason that I would stop doing comedy right now. And this reason is the real reason that's been percolating, and it really is the crowd, not you. I'm talking about the crowd on the big stage.
It's too hard to entertain a country whose ears are so brittle. Motherfuckers are so sensitive, the whole country is turned into bitch-ass niggas. Everything you say upsets somebody. You know, I can remember when it all started. It was when I was doing Chappelle's show. When I was doing Chappelle's show,
I used to do this show, and then on the weekends I do like concerts and shit like that. So I'm doing a concert, and there was a couple in the front row, beautiful couple. The wife was obviously Asian. You could see it in her face. The husband,
this motherfucker was mysterious, to say the least. Couldn't quite pinpoint where he was from. Caramel-colored fella, very nice hair, but he could have been from anywhere. Bangladesh, Mexico. I can't guess with a nigga like this. All I knew for sure about this guy is that his wife was a bitch. I could see that in her face, too. No, he was laughing and having a good time, and she was scowling at me at a goddamn comedy show. I couldn't figure it out. And then I realized at some point that she was pregnant, and I was smoking on stage. I said, oh my God, that's probably why she's mad. So I started to put my cigarette out, but then she hit me with one of them fake non-smoker calls. So I just kept smoking. I thought to myself, bitch, that baby will be fine, relax.
And I tried to break the tension. I just asked her. That's all I said. I go, hey, where are you guys from anyway? And I could tell that she was on to me. She goes, very condescendingly, she says, I'm from California. If you're asking my ethnicity, I am Chinese. And her husband was just cool about the shit. He was like, I'm Mexican, bro. I said, well, I'm sorry if I offended you by asking.
But you're a very beautiful couple. And miss, there's no question that you're gonna give birth to the hardest working baby this world has ever seen. That's not a bad joke. She got very upset. She got up to leave immediately, but she didn't just leave. She had to take one last dig at me on the way out. I will never buy one of your fucking DVDs again, Dave Chappelle.
I said, ma'am, with all due respect, Chinese people don't buy DVDs. And the crowd went crazy. We were all laughing, having a good time. I didn't even think anything of it. And then just 3 days later, this lady sends a fucking letter to my promoter telling him not to book me for shows anymore.
Because I was, quote, racist, and I'm quoting her, insensitive to the nature of my interracial marriage. I was like, word, bitch, I was. If she had just done a little bit of research, she would know that I myself am in an interracial marriage. That's right. In fact, my wife is Asian too. Surprise, bitch, I'll see you on Thanksgiving. But my wife's not Chinese. She's Filipino. That's right. And our kids are Puerto Rican somehow, so there you go. But I don't give a fuck about interracial marriage. In fact, you know what? My mother is half white.
A lot of people don't know that. Well, all right, you were a little too excited, but okay. A lot of people don't believe me when I say that, but it's true. You can't tell looking at me, but if I grew my hair out, you would think you was at a fucking Cat Williams concert. My shit is beautiful. But motherfuckers are just taking it too far. I don't know why or how everybody got this goddamn sensitive. You know who hates me the most? The transgender community. I don't care what your religious beliefs are or anything. If you have a dick, you need to shut the fuck up on this one. Seriously. This is theirs. The right to choose is their unequivocal right. Not only do I believe they have the right to choose, I believe that they shouldn't have to consult anybody except for a physician about how they exercise that right. Gentlemen, that is fair. And ladies, to be fair to us, I also believe if you decide to have the baby, a man should not have to pay. That's fair. If you can kill this motherfucker, I can at least abandon him. It's my money, my choice. What I think
the feminist movement needs to be very successful is a male leader. I'll do it. I will. I will lead you women to the promised land. I will make sure you get equal pay for equal work. I will make sure that nobody harasses you or fucks with you on the job. I will protect all of your interests. And all that I ask for in return is that you suck my dick. And now we're right back to square one, aren't we? I Googled the dictionary definition of a feminist just to make sure I was talking about the right thing. And do you know, sir, what the dictionary definition of a feminist is? I didn't either. Listen to this. Webster's defines a feminist as a human being, not a woman, a human being that believes in equal rights for women. I was shocked that that's what that meant. Because by that definition, I would consider myself a feminist. And I didn't even know that at the time. All these years, I thought it meant frumpy dyke. Well, that's who's always talking to be some chick in overalls. Men are trying to rape us. Ah, not you, bitch. We please.
Hey, you know what show I used to like to watch when I was little, though? Was that old Batman TV show. I used to think that was so cool, man. But I was watching it the other day, and it hit me. Kapow! Batman never fights crime in neighborhoods that need it. You know what I mean? Oh, really, man. I mean, I would like to see Batman fight crime in my neighborhood, all right? And I could see him, they just... Robin. Yes, Batman. Then we parked the car right here, man.
Caitlyn Jenner, whom I've met, wonderful person, Caitlyn Jenner was voted Woman of the Year. Her first year as a woman. Ain't that something? Beat every bitch in Detroit, she's better than all of you. Never even had a period, ain't that something? Oh, I'd be mad as shit if I was a woman. I'd be mad if I was me. If I was in a BET Awards sitting there and they're like, and the winner for Nigger of the Year, Eminem, my man. You know, America has a racial hot seat. I think we can all agree that that's the truth. And we can also agree that that hot seat is traditionally occupied by African Americans in general, African American men in particular. Although I can see that in recent years, that seat has been occupied by Mexicans, and I dare say Arabs. And we, the Black Americans, would like to thank you both for your sacrifice and your struggle. We needed a break. We needed a goddamn break. We all go through something, but at least I can leave my backpack someplace. If you Arab and forget the backpack, you got about 20 minutes before they send that robot to blow your shit up. She says, my daughter is coming home for the holidays. Oh, that's great news. I'm glad you're not going to be alone. And then she goes on and on about how great her daughter is. I guess her daughter got a new agent, and she's out in Hollywood, she's in movies and on television and all this stuff. And as she's telling me this, I'm thinking, this woman is so sweet. She probably doesn't even know who I am or what I do for a living. Because I know what your daughter's out in Hollywood doing. And then she goes, would you like to see her picture? Oh, now I don't want to see this woman's picture, but what am I going to do? I go, okay, yeah, sure, I'd love to see the picture. And I grab the picture, and this is all I say. This is all I say. Oh. She's very beautiful. And as she puts the picture away, she looks mean all of a sudden, like she caught me in some kind of trap. What does that face mean? And then she goes, she's transgender. And I think to myself, oh, this bitch does know who I am.
scary shit. I gotta tell you, Harvey Weinstein's probably the first person that I ever looked at a photograph of and was like, yeah, he rapes. I'm not sure this motherfucker has a choice. Not a handsome man, not a lot of meat and extra skin on his face. Yeah, he's ugly. You know the sad part is, he's done so well in life, he probably doesn't know he's ugly. You know, when you're good looking, everybody will tell you, oh, you look wonderful, you're so great looking. But when you're ugly, you gotta figure that shit out for yourself. It's a lot of putting clues together through the years. Why am I not getting in the club? I got all the right shit on. If it was Brad Pitt doing that shit, you wouldn't have heard a peep. The girl would just come back down like, I got the part. Yuck! Yet, it is important that I acknowledge, ladies, you are absolutely right. There you go. They gotta all be mindful of that, guys, because this could happen to any of us. It could happen to me. I can see that. I see myself showing up. Hi, I'm here for my 3 a.m. with Mr. Weinstein. Hey, Harvey, I got your text. I'm here to talk about the script. Seems like it's going to be hard to read in candlelight, but I guess I could try. Sound like a fucking nightmare. Could you imagine that shit? Could you imagine if you was in a business meeting and a motherfucker pulled their dick out? In the middle of the meeting, I'd be like, yo, my man, this is the most unprofessional shit I've ever seen in all my days. Just let me finish, Dave Chappelle. I'll put you in all 3 Lord of the Rings. Hurry up, nigga. I have other meetings, you know. I have a 4:30 a.m. at Brett Ratner's house, and I believe it's wardrobe fitting.
Dave Chappelle is here. His sketch comedy show has been called the funniest half hour on television. Elvis Mitchell of the New York Times says Dave Chappelle isn't content just to play the race card. He shuffles the entire deck. Here is a look at a sketch from Chappelle's show.
Some people just know black people, right? Yeah, I'm serious. They got like gut instincts. Some people know black people. But who are those people? We don't know. So we got some people, and we put them to the test. Now, what you're about to see is absolutely real. These are real people. This is not actors. This is the real deal. Give it up for my new game show. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
How can black people rise up and overcome?
How can they rise up and overcome? Oh, can they?
That is correct.
Reparations.
That is acceptable.
This is a rap lyric?
No, I'm sorry.
Oh, this is a general
an
question.
Actual question.
All right. There's a complex answer there.
That is correct.
Staying alive.
That is correct. That is correct.
Or stop cutting each other's throat.
That also is correct. How can black people rise up and overcome?
Get out and vote?
That is incorrect.
I'm pleased to welcome Dave Chappelle to this table for the first time. Welcome.
Thank you, Charlie. Good to be here,
Great to be here, man. I'm telling you. I have met your extraordinary family outside.
Thank you.
This high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The wife, 2 sons.
Who would have known that a guy with a show like this would be a father?
There you go. And a good one, I bet.
Yeah, I'm involved.
Now, is home, where do you live?
Oh, I live in Ohio. Right. I'm a resident of Ohio.
Do you actually sleep there?
Well, like 6 months out of a year.
Yeah.
Ideally, I'll come here, I'll do the show.
Right.
And then I'm going on tour later tonight.
Right.
Check your local comedy listings. And then I'm gonna go home, man. I like to go back to the farm. It's one of those things like even Superman has a place in the North Pole where he can relax and be himself.
Right.
And it is good for me and my family.
To have that place.
In contrast to what I do, it's just kind of sane and normal.
Yeah. You say that your material is more cultural than political.
I'd say so.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What does that mean to you?
Well, I mean, look, we live in a country that is incredibly culturally diverse, more so than racially diverse. You know, you could look at even in white culture, there's so many subcultures, so many different cultures that might not even interact, even though they're all the same race. Black culture is the same. Tupac doesn't hang out with the Huxtables or whatever. But you know,
they never knew each other at all.
But you gotta bridge the gaps, man.
So there was within one race, but very different cultures.
Right.
One was the hip hop community. One was sort of suburban.
Right, and even
upper middle class.
Right, and even within partisan politics, there's people who I'm sure represent different subcultures within America. And I think that the comedy we do, more so than political, just deals with how these things in pop culture are absorbed by these subcultures.
Yeah. But here's the interesting thing: how much of it is just is about black African Americans being black, the relationship, like the skit we just saw? Is it half of it?
No. Well, this is the thing. You got to remember, the show was written primarily by me and one other person.
A white person.
A white person. Now, I'm glad you said that because I found that it was interesting. For people who say that, you know, I play this race card, I don't consider it a card. I think it's interesting that every publication, with the exception of USA Today, that I've read something about my show in, is compelled to mention the fact that my writing partner is white. People just think.
Now, why do you think they're compelled to do that?
People think in terms of race because the show is so racially charged.
Right.
They're amazed that a white person and a black person can be cohorts. And
yeah, I agree with you about race card. When you say race card, it's as if you're using your race for either to beat somebody up, or
it's too dismissive.
It's dismissive, exactly.
They're saying I'm being divisive, and that that
even though the person who said that is an African American himself was Mitchell.
Right. No. Well, yeah. When he said I wasn't offended, but normally I feel like it's just kind of divisive, and it's a real subtle way to dismiss any credibility of what I'm saying.
Yeah. Now the show itself is just what we just saw. It's you doing a kind of introduction of a bunch of skits.
Right. Now the thing is, originally the show was always supposed to be a real personal show. Yeah. Which is one of the reasons why there's primarily 2 people writing it.
Right.
Because you can't hire 12 people and be like
a personal story.
Right.
It'll lose the voice.
Exactly. And last year we were establishing a voice. Then the fact that I don't want to read through a stack of papers and try to figure out who's going to be the funniest guy on paper.
Who were you influenced by? I mean, I would assume you got to say Richard Pryor, because it seems
absolutely
not to be influenced by Richard Pryor is not to have any
comic work in America, whether they know it or not, was influenced by what he's done.
And what was it about him that made him so powerful and and influential? The genius?
He spoke the way that people speak. He took a very specific set of circumstances and conveyed them so that people who didn't even live those circumstances could understand what he was talking about. Because he had such a human element to his work.
Yeah.
He changed the way that comedians engage their audience, the way they pace the stage. He brought a lot of things to comedy. He's kind of like Coltrane for comedy, like the last innovator.
Yeah. He would go up and down the stage, all the way across the stage. He wouldn't just stand there.
Right, and he had that thing where if you watch his show, you felt like he was talking directly to you. Yeah. Even if there was 1,000 or 2,000 people in the room with you. The way he engaged an audience just was very intimate.
no matter how big the venue.
Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, they can't honor him enough. Take a look at this. This is a frontline parody from our own PBS. Here it is. Clayton Bigsby.
He was the only Negro we'd ever had around here. So we figured we'd make it easier on Clayton by just telling him and all the other blind kids that he was white.
And he never questioned it.
Why would he?
You've written 4 books now.
I've written 6 books. They've published 4.
What would you say is the overall message of your books?
Sir, my message is simple. Niggers, Jews, homosexuals, Mexicans, Arabs, and all kinds of different chanks stink, and I hate it.
I noticed you referred to African Americans. What exactly is your problem?
How much time you got, buddy? Where would I start? Well, first of all, they're lazy, good-for-nothing tricksters, crack-smoking swindlers, big butt-having, wide-nosed, breathing all the white man's air. They eat up all the chicken. They think they're the best dancers, and they stink. Did I mention that before?
Yes, I believe you did, sir.
Matter of fact, my friend Jasper told me one of them coons came by his house to pick his sister up for a date. He said, "Look here, nigger, that there's my girl. Anyone has sex with my sister, it's gonna be me."
So the point is...
I like that sketch because it doesn't draw any conclusions. Yeah. It just paints a portrait of an insane dude.
Yeah.
It's based off of true stories, based off of my grandfather in reverse.
In reverse?
Yeah, my grandfather, if you saw him, he looks like a white man. For all I know, he is a white man.
Right.
He was born in a white hospital in 1911, so at least one of his parents were white.
Right.
As far as he knows, he's a black person. He's blind from birth. He was raised in black neighborhoods.
He was told he was black.
Right. He lives a black person's life.
Well, here's somebody who's told
and
they were white.
told the opposite.
Right, right.
So I just figured, what if someone...
The idea of using the N-word so much, is it simply because is there some goal in doing that?
Absolutely not.
None.
Nah, you know...
If you use it so much, it'll somehow take away from the...
I think that's a byproduct of it. You know, see, I've been to entire symposiums on, like, the appropriateness of this word.
Right.
And I have never in my life experienced a word that drove so many different feelings out of people, black and white, you know.
But white comedians can't do it.
Absolutely not. I mean, they'd have to be really inventive and careful. Lenny Bruce did it.
Yeah.
Lenny Bruce made a good point about it, about the power that people give words.
Richard Pryor used it.
Richard Pryor used it. Richard Pryor wasn't making a point. That's just the way
he was using
spoke.
the vernacular he knew.
Right, exactly. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. You know, there are people that speak that way. That's one of the subcultures in America. Right, it's a rather large subculture.
And it's spoken more among African Americans than it is among
and
any other culture.
Right. So the subculture that is in the top upper echelons of these media machines might deem it inappropriate for use. Meanwhile, people who consume their products on the street say it all the time. They know what context to say it. They know who and when and why and where they're saying it. And just because the people who own it, like, where am I supposed to go to be myself on television?
But you'd be offended if you walk out of this building and somebody says something to you using the N-word.
Absolutely. I'd be fighting mad.
You bet.
Because see, if I see another black person,
you're not using,
and I greet him that way, I don't think he would assume that I was trying to offend him. If a white person greets in that way, it's either A, it's malicious, it's bringing up this, just bringing up whatever the history is, or B, it's just insensitive and inconsiderate.
Or C, stupid.
Oh yeah, C,
he just
stupid.
doesn't know.
Right.
Yeah.
There are a few white people out there, I'm sure, black friends, that say that with their black friends with no consequence. But that's in the confines of their own personal friendships.
Right, exactly. All right, take a look at this. This is a sketch that examines what it would be like if a white Ozzie and Harriet family had an unusual last name.
This is my favorite.
Is your favorite?
Yeah,
all right, roll tape.
People come up to me, like, white people come up to me like, "Man, that sketch you did about them niggers, that was hilarious." Take it easy. You know, I was joking around. You start to realize these sketches in the wrong hands are dangerous. You know, and that N-word is a doozy, especially for us black folks. You know, a lot of different feelings come up when they hear that word. But I'm thinking, is it because that black people actually identify themselves as N-words? No, I don't know. Maybe. But what if we just use the word for other people? Would it be so bad? I don't know. So I made a sketch. It's about a white family whose last name happens to be nigger. That's all. Let's see how offensive the word sounds now. Morning, niggas.
Why, it's Clifton, our colored milk man.
And it's my favorite family to deliver milk to. The niggas. Something sure smells good. You niggas cooking?
We sure are. There's some leftover bacon if you'd like some.
Ooh, none for me. I know better than to get between a nigga and their pork. I get my fingers bit. Here you go. I hate to bother you about this, but, well, you didn't pay your bill last week. And I know how forgetful you niggas are when it comes to paying bills.
Golly, Clifton, it slipped my mind. Here you go. Sorry about that.
Oh, nigga, please. Nigga, please.
And one of your favorites.
I love that sketch.
You started performing when you were 14?
Yeah. Yeah. I started real young. It was one of these things where when I was 14, there was an article about Bill Cosby in Time magazine. And I was writing a book report on him. And in reading about the guy, I realized that being funny was a marketable skill. Like, I realized this guy came from nowhere.
Yeah.
And he was like a billionaire.
Yeah, exactly.
Just from telling jokes.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to do. It was one of those things. And I just never stopped.
Well, but did you have a natural instinct for it, or did you simply say, you know, if I get in there early and I work my butt off, I'll be okay?
Comedians are born. There's some.
Are they really born?
Yeah. Now, there's some guys, look, I'm going to tell you like this. With the run the risk of sounding cocky, right. I have a natural ability for this that not every guy necessarily has. Some guys I see that are real funny that work tremendously hard to be that funny. Some guys literally can just talk funny.
They have that X factor.
It's a certain thing, you know. And a guy like Eddie Murphy, he might be one of the funniest dudes I've ever spoken to in casual conversation. And I mean, this guy is just like, his talent is enormous. Like, if you meet him, you forget. Okay, you're one of the biggest grossing comedy stars of all times in the world. He is incredibly funny.
Yeah.
There's another guy that works real hard that'll get a sitcom or he'll get a shot just by merit of showing up and by putting the work in. He'll get a shot, but he'll never be like Eddie Murphy.
Roll tape. This is a sketch in which you get a call from Miss Oprah.
Hello?
Dave, it's Oprah.
Oh. Hey, what's up, girl?
Look, Dave, I'm pregnant.
Are you sure it's mine?
No, Dave, listen, it's yours.
Gotcha, bitch.
What?
Hold on one second. All right, look, over. I'm gonna fly to Chicago tomorrow, okay? But I'm gonna need you to send me a ticket.
I'll fly you out.
One, baby. Could you have a limousine pick me up at the baggage claim? Because I don't have no cab money to get from the airport to your house.
Okay, sure thing.
Thanks, boo. Oprah? I love you, baby.
I love you too, David Chappelle.
All right. I'm gonna go to work and tell everybody the good news tomorrow, and I'll see you in Chicago. Bye-bye. Hey, everybody, got an announcement to make. Ding, 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 ding. I quit. Excuse me. Got a quick word with you. Kiss my ass. Can you type a memo of that and send it around? I quit.
Dave, what's gotten into
you?
Oh, Sally, it's not what's gotten into me. It's what's gotten into Oprah. My seed, son. I'm rich, bitch.
We know where the payoff is, don't we?
Oh, yeah. I love that sketch, too.
Yeah. Now, how long, you signed a new contract with Comedy Central?
No, I'm done.
You're done?
I'm technically unemployed. It's one of those things, man.
Weren't you doing well?
It was doing great. They want to renegotiate.
No, but why don't you want to renegotiate?
Well, I got to take a minute. Like, I just put the show to bed last night.
Yeah.
And the way people like this show and what it's like to do a show like this, I don't think people would ever understand the amount of work that we put into it. That's why I appreciate my show, you know? And I hope that the big story from this is that I'm a guy that has done 11 television show pilots. Went out to Hollywood. Disney signed me up a few times. Universal signed me up. Done one for Fox. I've done one for this one, for that one. And they always liked me. They always like, yeah, Dave Chappelle, he's really funny. Maybe he's like an Archie Bunker type, or maybe we can do like Seinfeld with him, or maybe we can, you know, a million ideas they had, none of which worked at all. At all. And the whole time, when I'm the guy, I would say, well, I have an idea about how I want to do this. And I was the last person they wanted to hear from. They would say things like, people watch television for regularity. So I was more from your school. I want a show that can be anything.
Right.
No, people don't like that.
I know.
Our research shows and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. And then they finally, after all these years, I get an opportunity to do a show. And Comedy Central says, do what you want. And it was overwhelmingly successful. Overwhelmingly, like the best case scenario for what could have happened. With #1 show on the network, I go down the street and people are saying the stuff from the night before,
right?
You know, screaming it at me, and it was two guys who were virtually just not being used.
Yeah, and you got to go to the source. Thank you.
Yeah, thank
Great
you
to have
so
you.
much, man.
Pleasure.
Pleasure. It's an honor to be here, man.
All right, here's the story. I started doing stand-up comedy when I was 14. I'll never forget the first time I was on stage. The guy that introduced me was a guy named J.T. Newton. I'm 47. I can close my eyes and remember the introduction like it was yesterday. It went like this. Ladies and gentlemen, this next young man coming to the stage is starting his comedy career tonight. Who knows? We may be witnessing the birth of a star. Please welcome David Chappelle. From the first time that I ever held a microphone, I was sure this was it. I knew I was home. I knew I had found my thing. And my God, man, I was a child. I got good. Matter of fact, I was good from the moment I started. And I'm not saying this to be a braggart. I'm telling you the truth. These old niggas was in awe of me. How is this little boy so poised? They used to say. I was. I mean, you know, I got better, but it started out good. About a year into it, when I was 15 years old, I had written a joke during the AIDS epidemic about having a Goodyear condom. Something, I don't even remember the joke. Something about an industrial strength condom by Goodyear. I just remember all the comedians really liked that joke. And there was an older comedian. And he came to me one night after the show, after he saw the joke, and he said, listen, I got an audition at another comedy club, and I was wondering, do you mind if I do that joke? I just want to borrow it. Now, I'm a kid. I don't know any better. I'm like, borrow it? Well, I guess, sure, if it'll help your career. I let him do the joke. And then weeks later, I was waiting to go on in a comedy club, and he went on before me, and he did the joke. And after the show, I pulled him aside, and I said, hey, man, I don't mind you borrowing my jokes, but you got to give them back. He said, oh, I forgot to ask you. He goes, let me buy that joke from you for $50. And I said, man, I'd do it, but I'm just starting out. I need all the material I can get. The idea being that the more material I can accumulate, the faster I'll be able to make money for my work. I said, I can't do it. I want my joke back. I'll never forget this. Remember, I was a 15-year-old child. This guy was a grown-ass man. He stood up over me so I could see how big he was. And he said to me, really? I can just take it. And he did. I got scared because I was a child. But I never forgot that. I never forgot that. I was 15 years old. I'm 47 now. I think about this guy all the time. When I look at my own kids and I see how young and innocent they are, I can't believe someone did that to me. And I don't think about it every day because that was the worst thing that happened to me. I think about it every day because that was the first time that someone ever did that to me. But in my career, it has happened many, many times since, where someone would intimidate me or scare me and take something that I believe was mine. I'll tell you another story. Now I'm 18 years old. I'm living in New York City, and I just finished my first road tour, which was a very difficult tour. I'll spare you the details. Now I'm back in New York, but my rent is paid, thank God. And I have $60 to my name, and a woman that I had met in Pittsburgh, a bad Dominican bitch, was coming to New York. She was going to spend the weekend with me. I couldn't wait for her to get there. She was coming that evening. But remember, I only had $60 for a whole weekend to entertain a bad bitch. Now I'm walking through Greenwich Village, and I see something I've never seen before. 3-card Monte. You know what that is? Yeah, the guy had the whole thing. The table was set up, and he had the 3 cards, and the crowd was hooting and hollering, and he was like, find the red card, find the red card, and people were playing. Sometimes they win, sometimes they lose, but it was really exciting, and I'm standing there watching it, and I noticed while I'm watching them play this game that the red card, the one you're trying to find, had just a little bend on the corner. And I'm watching it, and I'm like, yo, this guy doesn't seem to know that red card is bent. I'm gonna beat this motherfucker. And I walked up to the table, and I said, let me play a hand. And I put my last $60 on that table, and he starts to shuffle and find the red card, find the red card. And I kept watching that bent card go around the table, make sure I kept my eyes on that bent card. And when he stopped shuffling, and he said, find the red card, I pointed to it with confidence. Here it is right here. And he flipped it over, and it was black. And he took my money. I couldn't fucking believe that. How did this nigga do that? Was that magic or sorcery? I was confused. So you know what I did? I sat there and I watched him for a real long time play the game. And I realized that all those people who was doing all that hooting and hollering and betting, my God, they were his friends. They were in on the whole thing. I felt so wronged. I felt so stupid. And then the next sucker came up to the table and was about to put his money down. And I said, fuck that, man. Don't put your money there. All these niggas is in on it. It's a trick. And when I said that, the guy that was dealing, and this motherfucker was huge, snatched me up by my collar. Feel how strong he was when he grabbed me. I was a skinny little guy. And he was gonna maul me. And the only reason he didn't, I'm sure, is because he saw the fear in my face. And that fear, he looked at me. I saw his eyes go from hard to soft. He softened. Then he looked at me like the way a father would look at a child. And he said to me, young man, don't ever come between a man and his meal. I never forgot that either. Most niggas would have to run the streets for years to learn a lesson that profound. It took me 2 seconds. Never get between somebody and their paper. Taking a man's livelihood away from him is akin to killing him. Do you know why Prince, the famous rock star that was a friend of mine, do you know why he called himself the artist when he came back? He calls himself the artist because that's what they call us in our contracts. Oh, these contracts are crazy. You should hear the terminology they say in these contracts. To use your name and likeness in perpetuity throughout the universe. Who the fuck could possibly know what that means? Nobody does. It's so complicated, in fact, that when you're a kid like me, you have to hire somebody to tell you what that means. And you sit down at a table and you do the contract game. And that's how I got with Comedy Central. I signed the contract. But I signed the contract the way that a 28-year-old expectant father that was broke signs a contract. I was desperate. I needed a way out. And it wasn't good money and it wasn't good circumstances. But what else am I going to do, I said. And all these white people sitting at that table told me, trust us, Dave, it's a good contract. And I looked around the table and they all seemed to agree it was a good contract. But what if it was like that game of three-card Monte? What if they were all friends and I didn't know it? And the bag of money was Iceberg's money in the first place. What was I talking about? What was I trying to tell you? Last week, 2 weeks ago, whenever it was, I call Lauren Michaels and I tell him, okay, I'll do it. I'll do Saturday Night Live on election night. And the day I made that phone call, the day I committed to it, it gets announced that Netflix is streaming Chappelle's show. Not just Netflix, HBO Max is streaming it too. Let me tell you another story about HBO. No, hear me out. Did you know, before Chappelle's show was at Comedy Central, I pitched that show to HBO. I told them what I wanted to do. Now, these are executives. All they have to do is say, yeah, we'll take it, or no, thank you, we won't. But they didn't say either of those things. They went too far. They said, literally, what do we need you for? That's what they told me, as they kicked me out of the office. What do we need you for? And here we are, all these years later, and they're streaming the very show that I was pitching to them. So I'm asking them, what do you need me for? People think I made a lot of money for Chappelle's show. When I left that show, I never got paid. They didn't have to pay me because I signed the contract. But is that right? I found out that these people were streaming my work and they never had to ask me or they never had to tell me. Perfectly legal because I signed the contract. But is that right? I didn't think so either. That's why I like working for Netflix. I like working for Netflix because when all those bad things happened to me, that company didn't even exist. And when I found out they were streaming Chappelle's show, I was furious. How could they not know? So you know what I did? I called them and I told them that this makes me feel bad And do you want to know what they did? They agreed that they would take it off their platform just so I could feel better. That's why I fuck with Netflix, because they paid me my money, they do what they say they're gonna do, and they went above and beyond what you could expect from a businessman. They did something just because they thought that I might think that they were wrong. And I do. I think if you are fucking streaming that show, you're fencing stolen goods. They stole that from me. They just took it. And I'm not up here trying to tell you guys that I believe that Comedy Central gave me a raw deal just because I'm black. I believe that they gave me a raw deal because this fucking industry is a monster. It's the same monster that these Me Too bitches was trying to tell you about. But they hate the monster for how it fucks. And I hate that monster for how it eats. But my God, man, it's the same monster. When I quit the show, all my friends would say, well, fuck them, Dave. Why don't you just do Chappelle's show at another network? Yeah. And why doesn't a slave run from one plantation to another plantation because the master over there might be nicer? My God, man, I was trapped. You know what? Tell you the truth. I've even thought about coming back and doing another Chappelle show. Well, but if I do, I can't call it Chappelle's Show because my name and likeness is being used by them in perpetuity throughout the universe. It's in the contract. You're not supposed to do this in my business. I'm up here doing something that nobody else in this business has the balls to do. I'm telling you something that you need to know. I'm trying to explain to you what you're seeing. You don't understand what you're seeing. I am publicly flogging a network. And I know that this network niggas, they watching me and they saying, why are you doing this so publicly? Doesn't feel good to be flogged publicly. Oh, believe me, I know. I know exactly how that feels. When I quit my show, they said I was crazy. What was crazy about it? I just didn't want to do it anymore. They said I smoked crack. That's impossible. I was a devout Muslim. I didn't smoke or drink. But I do now, bitch, because you ruined my fucking life. Now it's their turn. This is their first nigga lesson, and I'm honored to give it to them. They're gonna pay me for this show. I called my agent. I said, is there anything I can do about this show? And he said, no. Well, fuck you too then. If you want something done right, I guess you gotta do it yourself. So I'm not going to the agents. I'm coming to my real boss. I'm coming to you. I'm begging you. If you ever liked me, if you ever think there was anything worthwhile about me, I'm begging you, please don't watch that show. I'm not asking you to boycott any network. Boycott me. Boycott Chappelle's Show. Do not watch it unless they pay me. If you're a shareholder at Viacom, then I'm talking to you. Because all that shit that they do to us, well, they do everything for their shareholders. That's what they told me. So if you're a shareholder in that company, tell them it's wrong. And if you don't believe that it's wrong, then fuck you too. You should know what's in the hot dogs you eat. Now, there's probably a bunch of people at Comedy Central and Viacom and all these places that have no idea what I'm talking about. They've all either quit or been fired or got Me Too'd or something. Them niggas is gone. And there's a whole bunch of new young people there, and they're probably looking like, what is he talking about? They may not actually know what the fuck happened to me. So I'll tell you what I'm talking about. Go downstairs to your accounting department, open the books, see what that show made, and look at what you paid me. That's exactly what I'm talking about. You're going to pay me. I am inviting you to come with me and work with me. And let's fight against that terrible, terrible feeling that you made me feel together. We can fight together and work this thing with Chappelle Show out. Or I can just take it. Thank you.